I like creating witch farms. You got a fixed amount, 189 spawning spaces, and have to try to make the best out of it. Last year, SciCraft spent a few weeks making witch farms 1% more efficient by developing the toggle state shifting floor concept. But today I want to show you a method to make any witch farm 150% more efficient. With the introduction of the translocation bug/feature in 1.9, it finally became possible to transport a large amount of entities with high speed. So instead of killing the witches directly with fall damage, we transport the witches towards the player's AFK spot and kill them there with the looting spree. A consequence of the high location of the AFK spot would be that in a normal survival world you would have to light up a small area or excavate a small amount of blocks. And here's how this farm works. So by flicking this lever, the redstone lamps inside the actual witch farm would turn off, and it also would start a clock. So you just saw the first batch of witches whizzing by, and after 4 batches of witches have arrived, we're gonna kill them with a splash potion of harming. So that was the 4th batch. Any moment they would fall down, and then we're gonna kill them. And what happened here was probably too fast for you, so I'm gonna go through it step by step. First, the witches land in this holding cell here. It's 31 point something blocks away from the player, which is less than 32, so they would never despawn if the player is standing at the AFK spot. Then this block retracts here, which causes the witches to fall down. Then they fall through lava, you saw them burning. And then they would hit the ground with half a heart. So unfortunately I have to let them fall through lava, because if they would have half a heart of damage without any lava damage before, and I throw a splash potion of harming 2 at them, you don't kill them. So the only method to reliably kill them was having them drop through lava for me, which is a little bit unfortunate, because this causes them to drop mostly fire resistance potions. If they would only drop healing potions, then you could use them to save on nether warts to get the harming potions. Also, to make it clear, I don't know of any method to separate the fire resistance potions from the healing potions, so I can't sort them. So, and yeah, you get a splash potion of harming 2 with this dropper in the back here. It's timed perfectly, so you would throw the potion at them shortly after they hit the ground. Witches have resistance to magic damage. They only take 15% of the damage of splash potions of harming, so that's why you also need a splash potion of harming 2 to kill them. For a splash potion of harming 1 you wouldn't kill them. Also, 4 game ticks later, this dropper below, there are 2 droppers, I powered the bottom dropper, dispenses a looting sword to me. So I pick up the looting sword before the potion hits the ground, and then I get the looting effect for the kill. In the snapshots it was possible to hold the looting sword in the offhand to get the looting effect, but this was fixed in the 1.9 release, unfortunately. In order to get rid of the sword again, so I can pick up a splash potion of harming later, I get translocated through this piston here into this position. Then I would put the sword in the item frame, like I did last year with the AFK Rabbit's Foot farm. Then this piston elevates me, and this dispenser shoots a snowball through the extended piston arm. This is necessary because otherwise the snowball would hit the player, and it shoots the sword out of the item frame, and it lands in the hopper, and gets cycled back to the dropper below this dropper. And then, because I'm elevated, I also need water bottles. I could make a huge storage of water bottles. If you would AFK for 8 hours, you would need 20 double chests of water bottles, for example. So having a water bottle storage would also be an option. But I thought it's quite nice to make this farm a little bit more complicated and get rid of the water bottle problem, because I have time anyway, so I could also fill some water bottles if I'm AFK. You also saw that I had 2 water bottles. The reason is, if you would have a single water bottle and, for example, click on a water block for item frame in the back, so that was my first idea, then you would put the water bottle inside the item frame. So the next idea was to click on the water source and move the player down, but if you hold down right click, then you would start drinking it and put the empty water bottle in the item frame, which doesn't help at all. So a working solution is to give the player 2 water bottles and fill your inventory with something. So if you click on the water source, you would drop a filled water bottle because you don't have any inventory spaces left. And then you would also fill a second one, start drinking it, put it back in the item frame, and also shoot it out of a snowball. So each time you throw a splash potion, you also fill up a water bottle later. Yeah, and after that, the piston that I just removed here in Game Mode 0 is pulled down by the stick piston, and the double piston extender pushes me back to the AFK spot, and then the sticky piston extracts again, so this piston could translocate me later. That's the drop at the top that dispenses the water bottles, and you have to make them stack up, because if you would pick up a single water bottle, then and hold down right, you would fill the water bottle and you couldn't pick up the second one. So I let them land on this block first, so they stack up, and then I retract this block so I get the 2 water bottles at once. You also saw this solid block here retracting before the witches hit the ground here. And the reason is, I tested this farm for 4 hours, and apparently there's a very small chance that a witch survives. So it only happened once, with over 10,000 witches, so it's a 1 in a few thousand chance. But yeah, they would never despawn and fill up the mob cap. So in order to get rid of that problem, we retract this block before they hit the ground and push it back later, so any witch that would survive here would get killed by the suffocation damage. The mob drops are collected by minecarts, hopper minecarts inside of solid blocks, and are distributed equally to 2 hoppers. I get over 15,000 items power, and a single hopper could only process 9,000 power, so you need to split them up on 2 hoppers. And most of them would land on the left side. So if you would have, for example, a hopper on the left side and one on the right, then the left one would overflow and the one on the right doesn't. So I had to make sure they are filled equally. Then the items are shot out here and go up this item elevator. Here I sort out some water bottles that I would fill up. Then this is for the brewing system, so we need those ingredients: gunpowder, glowstone, and spider eyes. Then you also need additional items that you have to farm before. So you need some nether warts. It's just 30 to 35 per hour, so not much really. And you also need fermented spider eyes. You get the sugar and the spider eyes anyway, so you also need a small brown mushroom farm to run this farm, which is no problem. Yeah, and the rest of the items are sorted in this small storage here. Here we would have access to the brewing stand and for the water bottles, so you could fill up this chest here before starting the system the first time. And in the back we also have an additional hopper, which is filled with some blaze powder to restock the brewing stand with blaze powder. But it's really a lot of blaze powder. It's enough for, I think, 100 hours of AFKing or so. And those are, 1 dropper is enough for, I think, 15 hours of AFKing. If you would plan to AFK longer, then you will need additional chests. The system also has an overflow protection, so if you have enough potions in this chest, it turns off the brewing system. So then we also have to get the dropped water bottle and the empty water bottle and the sword, and they are collected by those hoppers here. So to sort out the sword, yeah, we do this with timing. So we disable the bottom hopper here, so all the swords would go this way, and that's all the looting swords. I guess you only need 2 should be enough, but I filled up a bit more, and yeah, then this a repeater goes off again, and afterwards first drop the water bottle, the filled water bottle, and then the empty glass bottle, and they go down both here. We sort out the filled water bottle with this non-stackable item filter, and then the filled water bottle goes up with this dropper elevator here, and yeah, goes into this double chest basically. And the empty glass bottles, they go also into this dropper, and then they would go in the storage as a consequence. So you also need some snow to shoot out the items. I don't know, I could also do that AFK and do the same item frame trick and so on, but I could also farm nether warts or plant on saplings for tree farm while I'm AFK. Yeah, that's just the limit what I wanted to do here, and I just had a snow storage here. But you could also use arrows to shoot it out. It would also work. So and also chicken eggs, but I wouldn't recommend chickens, because you need to get rid of chick, and this farm that is a combination of user inputs and server-side timings with the repeaters and so on, is severely harmed by lag. So if you get lag spikes, putting back the sword and so on, this could break. So if you play on a laggy server, with a bad connection, or your computer is weak for single player, I wouldn't recommend to build something like this. But I tested it for 4 hours and it worked fine for me, and I don't have the best computer as well. What's also important is that you don't build anything above the actual witch farm, because the spawning attempts are dependent on the Y value. If you would build this directly above the witch farm here, you would cripple your raids. You would only get half as much. So don't put any opaque block above the witch farm area. You also saw that I collected the XP afterwards. So a witch drops 5 XP and also 5 items with looting 3. So on top of 15,000 items per hour, you also get 15,000 XP per hour with this type of farm, which is enough to get you from level 0 to 75. Also a few words about the witch farm itself. So I used the upwards shifting floor design again. I think it's still a quite decent farm for 1.9. The rates are comparably good. I think it has 93% efficiency. And it works like this: we push the floor up, then the blocks above, the witch can't go through the block, so it glitches inside the block that is pushed up and then falls through basically. And this happens 3 times, just have to get the timings right. And yeah, this is super simple farm to build, and the rates are quite good compared to other farms. Soul Sand shifting floors are just slightly better from my testing. The only farm that is that I'm aware of at the moment that is a lot, not a lot, 5-6% better is gnembon's skeleton witch farm. So he uses skeletons that aim at iron golems to shoot the witches down. This has the advantage that you don't lose any spawning spots, because if you push the block up, no new witches can spawn for a short amount of time, which explains the loss in efficiency. But I didn't want to have a farm where the witches could get severely damaged, so I was afraid that they would get killed by the fall damage. And also it's more effort to build. Also, one word about witch farms and efficiency in general. It seems like that the game in 1.9 attempts to spawn less mobs. So from my testing with this farm and another one, it seems like that all witch farms are now 13% slower compared to the snapshots, for example. So this farm alone would yield about 6,000 something drops per hour. Gnembon did some code reading already, and I think he plans to do a video about this matter, so keep an eye out for that. So this would be the collection area here. I use a comparably big hole in the middle, so if you would only have, for example, a 1x1 hole, it takes a long time till all the witches get past each other. So that's why I let them fall into this bigger hole first, and then I compressed them further with pistons from the side here, and then they're picked up by the translocators here. By the way, this is a nice way to get them spawn-proof. So if we would use sand only, for example, and put a block above, then you lose the sand block. But for some reason, if you use a sand-gravel combination, that doesn't happen. Some of you might be wondering if doing this would be possible with a quad witch shot, and yeah, I think it is. And with a single witch shot, the mob cap is usually no problem at all, but with 4 witch shots you would need to fight against the mob cap somehow and throw more potions, but I don't think it's a problem because you also get more drops. Also, if they would fix the translocator behavior, hopefully not, of course it would be harder to get them to the AFK spot at the top. So I didn't do any testing, just have some ideas, so you could use a lot of minecarts. But I think that since you can entity load the nether now, maybe you could send them to the end and do something with gas pushers and for end portals in general. Maybe this might be an option, but I thought this would be I didn't do any testing. I thought translocators works nice, so didn't do any further testing. Okay, that's all I want to talk about. I hope I covered all the questions you might have, but if you have any more questions, feel free to ask. And if you're interested in building something like this, I saw that it's quite complicated, but the world download in the video description might help. Have a good day, and goodbye.